experience.
One of my very close girlfriends is going to meet me after the show.
Okay, Nicole,
You're good to go whenever.
we're recording?
Yeah.
This is Live from the Table, recorded at the world-famous Comedy Cellar in Greenwich Village. We are coming at you on Sirius XM 99 Raw Dog and the Laugh Button Podcast Network. Dan Naturman coming at you. Noam Dworman is back, baby. I'm not sure-
Present.
I don't know what he was doing last week, but whatever situation was, kept keeping him.
Hiding from the Omicron, Dan. Hiding
Well,
from the Omicron.
but no, he wasn't even on Zoom last week.
Oh, last week, yeah, I took off last week.
Okay, he doesn't even.
I
have
needed
to-
some me time last week.
Well, I thought you had enough me time in between shows, but apparently you don't. Noam, welcome. Periel Aschenbrand, producer and on-air personality, just kind of snuck up on us.
Who was on last week?
Last week we had Dove. It was just a very comedy-oriented discussion.
Did
mostly-
he didn't say anything we had to cut out? Usually Dove says a few things.
He did.
And you cut them out?
Yes.
In any case, it was, as I said, a very comedy-oriented discussion for those who like the more comedy-oriented discussions we have on this show. Today will be a more political discussion, I assume, because we have Coleman Hughes coming in just a little bit. Coleman has done our show before. He is a public intellectual,
He's a musician. He's a
musician. Well, he also has a popular podcast that discusses
Very popular.
philosophy and topics of the day. Anyway, before he gets there, I guess we should mention that Aziz Ansari's special that was taped right here at the Comedy Cellar has dropped, as they say nowadays, on Netflix. I have not seen it, but Noam, you've seen it. Is it good for the Cellar on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the best publicity you could ask for, 1 being a complete disaster that'll kill the club. Where would you put this special?
Well, a 10. Okay, if the Louis show was a 10,
Yeah, I guess the Louis show would be a 10.
I mean, then this was an 8. This is very good.
Well, of course, it's only the Louis show is on every week, but I guess this is on Netflix. People will be downloading it for a while to come.
I can only say for the people who watch it, it would be an 8 for the Comedy Cellar. Like, I mean, if nobody watches it, then that's a tree that falls in the forest. But assuming if somebody saw the Louis show, they saw Louis going down in the intro into the club, so that was like a big endorsement of the club. I thought that was like a 10, so people would come from all over just to take a picture of the club and take pictures of themselves walking down the stairs, recreate the opening to Louis, whatever. Of course, later on, it kind of backfired.
Well, not really. I mean, no, later on, it actually, I think the opposite of backfired. I think the Louis scandal was probably good for the club overall at the end of the day.
So, it's good for the club, Dan, having good comedy on a nightly basis. It's not publicity. It's not anything. You just have to be consistent and have good shows.
Yes, but as you've said, the Louis show kind of took things to another level in terms of the crowds, the number of shows that you.
It did, but they would have come once and then not come again.
If the shows weren't good, is what Noam's saying.
And it was already growing even when Louis did it, but then we did get a boost from Louis. But I've seen in my career so many clubs that like somebody famous went there and there was a big buzz around and everybody just piled in. And 10 months later, they were empty again because people came and they're like, all right, well, I'm not coming here again. But we had people come and then they kept coming and coming and coming. I think.
Well, so it's both then. You got to get them in the door, and maybe Louis and Aziz helps in that regard. But once they're in the door, you got to give them a product that they.
But I'll tell you one thing: the Aziz show looks fantastic. Like for years, nobody's ever been able to shoot a special in the actual original Cellar room. They shoot in the underground because it's bigger. But he did it, and I mean, I don't know who his cinematographer was. The lighting is warm, and it looks great. It looks exactly like the Comedy Cellar. It feels exactly like it feels at the Comedy Cellar. That's not always the case on TV. They did a great job.
And, of course, you can see the Comedy Cellar logo prominently displayed the whole time, I gather. Again, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of the Comedy Cellar logo...
Not only that, but he also has video of himself the first time he ever performed at the Cellar in a bringer show that we used to do early. That had that guy. You might remember his name. I don't remember his name. He used to take the early hours and do a bringer show. Remember that?
But when was that? In the early 2000s?
Yeah, or late 90s, early 2000s, yeah.
I don't think Aziz goes back to the late 90s. Maybe he does.
So early 2000s.
Probably the early 2000s.
So he has video of himself walking down the street, walking into the club.
I mean, he
as
must
a
have
little
been like
kid.
20 years old. I mean, or younger. I mean, a teenager.
Yeah. It's so it's really, the comedy side. He talks about this as the first place he did stand-up comedy.
Well, it does sound like an 8, judging by what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now, what about, speaking of, I mentioned the Comedy
It
Cellar.
could even be a 9.
Comedy Cellar logo, the Amazon commercial that features Napoleon doing stand-up, standing in front of a sign that looks just like the Comedy Cellar sign. Has anybody? I mean, I think I've brought this up before, but are people noticing? How many emails are you getting regarding that?
I get a steady stream, especially text messages from friends. They showed it like at every NFL game, and I mean, Amazon didn't ask us permission. They're supposed to.
It's outrageous.
Well,
I mean, I don't think Amazon knows. Amazon hires an ad agency.
The ad agency certainly knows.
And the ad agency in turn hires writers, and has writers on staff, I suppose. But one of them might have just come up with that, and and nobody knew. But
no way.
Well,
no way. That's not a thing.
No. Well, it's possible that whoever oversees it at Amazon didn't recognize the seller. We're not like a household image. But just to know the extent of what they did, there's a stained glass, it's a stained glass copy of our sign, and if you look at it, even the cuts of the glass, the geometry of the glass, which are random kind of, are exactly the same as ours. So they literally traced,
of course,
or took a picture of our sign and put it through Photoshop and used it for their own sign. That's probably what they did. I mean, it's exactly the same. It's so much the same. And then the brick and then the wainscoting, the wainscot is like a dark wood.
Yeah.
That I have to look closely to know if it's the Comedy Cellar or it's.
Well, it says Naples.
Yeah, you have.
It's Napoleon.
Well, but not every shot you can see because the comedian kind of obscures the word a little bit.
If you sued them, if you sent
I think it's Naples.
Well, whatever it is.
For Napoleon.
A cease and desist, I think any court.
Yeah, but there's nothing in it for Noam for them to cease and desist. Noam wants him to continue.
Well, they should pay him. You're not allowed to use somebody else's logo for your own financial gain without compensating them for it, is what I learned in law school.
Well, yes, but, it's kind of good. I kind of like it.
Wouldn't you like it better if they gave you, compensated you for it?
Well, I suppose if there were a 7-figure check,
yeah, well, there
that
should
was
be
at stake, you might not refuse it, but I don't think it would be that.
Well, no, I have my ideas. I
know.
don't. You can't see this. Do you have a camera? We have a camera anywhere? Are we on camera? Yeah. Where's the camera? Here. Can you see that?
So Noam made a Comedy Cellar logo that looks just like the Amazon logo with the little swoosh,
hysterical.
the little orange arrow.
I found the Amazon font, and it's exactly that's totally. Did you see it, Nicole?
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's totally Amazon, right?
That's great.
So what I thought I would do is start using this logo for something,
That is so funny.
and then have Amazon complain,
Right.
and I'd be like, "What chutzpah? Like you're going to complain about me using your logo when you just finished using my logo?"
oh my God, we have
And I
to.
thought that'd be funny. Like
That would well, it would be a
is.
good thing.
that'd be great press, right? Amazon
so, but-
complains after
But where are you going to use that logo on the website?
Make shirts, make sweatshirts.
on the stage. I haven't figured that part out yet.
Well, but this commercial is not going to go on forever, so you might want to strike while the iron is hot. I mean,
No, I want the commercial to stay on as long as.
no, what I'm saying, it may not stay on, so you might want to get moving on
What I'm
this.
saying is I don't want them to. I don't know.
I'm saying if you're going to put this logo up, you should do it sooner rather than later.
What I would really like is for them to do more Comedy Cellar ads.
More ads featuring
Yeah. I mean,
figures from history doing stand-up.
but the thing is, even though it does probably benefit the club, and it is flattering, and my kids think I'm awesome, you're right. They're supposed to pay you for that.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, this is the richest man in the world.
Listen,
And
there you go.
there it is. So
No, come on. It's crazy. It's completely out of control.
so
Now,
this
can
is,
we put up next to it the Comedy Cellar? And the colors are the same too. I think is it the blue and red?
No, it's exactly the same. So I mean, I'll whatever. So
If you text that to me, I can send it to Nicole.
no, let's move on to something else. But it's not worth it. But anyway, so yeah, they should pay. I mean, I don't know what the going rate is.
Well-
Even a few $1,000s a time it's shown.
For sure.
Would pay for my vacation this summer.
For sure.
Like,
Can I tell you something? When
Yeah.
I made my "The Only Bush I Trust Is My Own" shirt, and it was, I mean, it went viral before viral was a thing, and then there was a really big lingerie company that knocked it off exactly as it was, and they were sent to cease and desist or pay for it, and they wound up taking it all down. It was like in the window of their store in Soho.
But it didn't harm you. I mean, the thing is this.
Of course it harmed me. What people were, I was selling, I created that, I designed it, I made it, and I was selling it. And this guy copied it and was selling it as his own.
Okay, all right. Well, in that sense, maybe. But this does not really harm Noam in any way.
Wait, so Nicole,
I don't think.
I will send you 2 pictures here, and then we can put. What, did I lose them already? Go ahead, guys.
No, I don't, I think it's a question of, I mean, first of all, it's unethical.
No, they. I think it's pretty open and shut in terms of them owing Noam money. But Noam is not being harmed by this in any way.
No, I'm not being harmed by it, but and I mean, I don't know, Dan. There's trademark law and
Yeah,
there's
for sure.
copyright
Well,
law.
trademark law requires confusion. It requires people to, the average person would have to look at the Amazon ad and say they must be affiliated with the Comedy Cellar or something like that. I mean, the law is, confusion is kind of like the standard. Copyright law is something else, and this would probably fall more under that. By the way, where is Coleman? Did he text to?
Well, he's not
verify?
supposed to be here yet. It's only 7:12.
When did we ask him to come?
7:20.
Oh, okay.
As all guests.
Okay, but
As
oh,
per your instruction.
well, it's case by case.
No, it can't be case by case. There's got to be a format to the show.
Well, everything is case
Why
by
can't it be case
The
by
world-
case?
Because then every single show I have to say, what time do you want them to show up? It's crazy.
Oh, that would be terrible.
Can we?
7:20 is I thought because Coleman is a special guest that
I might have said.
didn't,
I might have said 7:15.
I didn't think to tell you, but I whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We have plenty to discuss.
I did put a bid in for a talking point
Okay,
that was
go ahead.
that was
Go ahead, do your
approved.
talking point.
Go ahead, hit your talking point.
So we got an email. Well, Dan, you sent an email to the two of us, and you said whatever happened to that Scrabble episode because David Stone, I believe his name was, he took the time to come to the show.
David Stone, who is a one of the Comedy Cellar, probably the biggest Comedy Cellar fan. Him and Andy Barron, the two guys are here.
Not anymore, right?
Well, he did it. We had him on the show when he talked about Scrabble because he's a big Scrabble guy. And the show never aired. And then he contacted me. Hey, what happened to the Scrabble show?
Right.
Scrabble episode.
Which was
I said, well, I'll inquire. I didn't know that it didn't air. So
which was a very reasonable question coming from you, and your tone was totally.
well, there was no tone. I texted you
No, you emailed us.
or emailed.
Yeah, but you took a tone.
No, he did not take a tone. You took a tone. And Noam goes, yeah, I'd like to know if it aired too. So I immediately went into like panic mode, like, oh my God, did I fuck up somehow? And I start like digging through our past episodes, and I see that the episode did not air. Now, there's only one reason why an episode would not air. Is if Noam told me not to air it because he wanted to edit something out of it. Is that, do we all agree on that? Is that fair?
I agree that would be a reason. I don't know that in this case that happened or not.
Okay. Noam?
Huh?
Is
I'm not
it-
listening. Yes,
Well,
that would be a reason.
Okay. That's really the
Boy,
only
you
reason.
have a way with a story.
I go back, I find, and so I said that to Noam. I said, the only reason I wouldn't air it is if you told me not to, because you wanted to edit something out. So I go back and I find an email from him.
From Noam.
Don't run this episode. I need to edit X, Y, and Z out, which I sent to him with the episode link and to Sirius Radio.
Nicole Lyons, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, go ahead.
And Noam goes, with a tone, well, how could I edit it out if I never got it? Thankfully, I found the trail that he was sent it that very night.
Well, no, it looks like you've been caught dead to rights. I mean, in a rare victory for Periel.
No sorry, no next time.
No, I didn't realize till today that that was an old email you sent me. I thought
because he doesn't read my emails.
I don't listen to you. Why would I read your email? So this is the thing. I guess she sent it to me.
I guess, or she sent it to me.
She sent it to me.
Okay.
What month was this?
October 21st to be exact.
Well, the 21st was the anniversary of a terrible event to me, and and I forgot, or I whatever. I didn't get to it, and she's the fucking producer, and she has a show to put on. So she think on the 23rd, she say, "Listen, I need that show back. We didn't air it."
An email he also would not have read.
And or call me like she's the producer. I'm talent. I know what it's like to cater to talent because I cater to talent all the time. I was gonna say one thing. I have comedians who never call in their avails. We call them again and again and again and again. You think I say Dave Attell? Sorry, Dave, you didn't answer. We booked New Year's without you. We contact them again and again and again until we get an answer. So go ahead.
Well,
Dan.
I think the roles are, ill-defined. She is the producer. At the same time, your role is more than just on-air talent. So, and you do tend to ignore emails.
She's responsible for putting the show on.
In any case,
But I did put a show on because we had it banked as an extra episode.
is the show going to be edited? Is it first of all?
Yeah, I'm going to take care of it. and
Is
put
it
on.
time sensitive?
No, I think we made some sort of
Okay, we
about,
have-
said transvestite instead of transsexual or something stupid like that. I wanted to edit out.
Oh, great. Now I'm going to have to edit that out of this, and this also isn't going to air.
No, I said like if somebody misspoke. I don't think it was me.
It was you, and I know exactly what it was, too.
Whatever it was, it was a slip of the tongue kind of thing.
Right.
Like,
it was your slip.
It
of
wasn't
the
like
tongue.
any kind of
It certainly wasn't mine. You wouldn't be like, "Hold the episode, Periel. I don't want to air what you said." Listen, we do have a little issue here, which is Coleman fucked up. But he can be here in 30 minutes.
No. Tell him we'll do it next week.
Okay.
Yeah, but then we have nothing for this week.
No, this was going great.
This is great. We'll do it next week. We'll do it.
Did you invite another comic? Because Periel said, well, should I have another comic on? And I said, well, if Noam insists, then book another comic. If Noam doesn't insist.
I didn't insist.
Okay. Well.
Wait, if Coleman would be here in 30 minutes. No, it's too late because that would be.
Well, I have a spot, so
Yeah, it's too late.
I mean, we can do it after my spot. We can come back up, but I don't know how that
It's
plays
fine.
into.
He can do. We
What?
can do it next week. It's fine.
Oh, so Nicole put on the screen there, so you can see they're identical. I don't know why the one on the Amazon one is
Vegas one
dark.
didn't
Maybe
look-
that's just our.
The Vegas one looked a little different. The last one that was posted, but
Yeah, that's. I mean,
come on. It's outrageous.
oh no, on here you can't see it. Here it's very clear, right? I mean, look at that. So I can take the camera. So you see, like, look at the way the panes of glass are cut. Like
Yeah.
one, two, see how they're identical
on the left side, yeah, I don't know if they're identical on.
Yeah, they're identical. The whole thing is identical. They copied the whole thing.
Didn't your father have that made?
They made it squarer. They chopped that out. Of course we had it made.
And,
So
the,
it's-
and the blue on the outside, and then there's red inside the blue. Yeah, I mean it's obviously the same thing, but
Okay.
The spotlights are. I mean, there's slight little changes. Because they made it a little squarer, dimension wise.
and they don't have green. They don't have a green letter. Their letters are blue, white, and red. And you're red.
Yeah, they went with a slightly different color scheme. Probably it's the colors of the French flag. I think Dan was.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
Ooh, nice.
Somebody,
That's
Mike
cool.
Pesca told me that.
Yeah, that's a good point. So red, white. They're red, white, and blue.
Yeah, so that's badly colored, but it's actually red. It just for whatever reason looks.
I am
orange.
going to officially go on record here saying that this was not like an oversight.
What do you mean an oversight?
That nobody was like, "Oh, I found this thing. I'm just going to use it." Like this was knowingly sort of ripped off. Like 100%.
Yeah, of course, it was knowingly ripped off. But question is, they might have a legal theory, which allowed them to feel like they didn't need to pay us. But I'm fine with it. I'm really fine with it.
By the way, speaking of the French flag, these are the kinds of things that interest me. Maybe I don't know if it's of interest to you, but you know, in English we refer to our flag as the red, white, and blue. It's always in that order. We'll never say blue, white, and red. It's always red, white, and blue. And in French, it's always bleu, blanc, rouge, blue, white, and red.
Why is that?
I don't know. But for some reason, we always say it in that order, just like we always say black and white. It's black and white. We never say white and black.
So
It's always
American
black
flag.
and white.
You know, I'm embarrassed to say this. It's hard for me to picture the American flag, but the stripes are okay. What color are the stripes?
Red and white.
Yeah, stripes are red and white. And what color is the
Blue and white.
and the stars? Right. So maybe because red and white stripes and then blue.
I don't know. I just think for some reason it just flows off the tongue better that way. Red, white, and blue. Or maybe we're just used to it.
Blue, white, and red.
I don't know.
White, blue doesn't white, red. No, but blue, red, and
It
white.
may just be
blue, red, and white.
It
Sounds
may
right.
just
White,
be
red, blue.
sounds better. It may be just that we're used to it. I don't know, but I think it's sort of interesting. That
So, yeah, I have a
always
defect.
say it that
If
way.
you-
So you could just stop there.
I would have trouble like immediately like picturing what I know it's red, white, and blue, but like I could get confused. Like, wait, are the stripes blue and red? Like I could mess that up. Trump messed that up one time actually. I wouldn't mess it up if I saw it. I would know right away that it was wrong, like a multiple choice. But like just picture it in my head, I would have to.
I have to say, Noam, and I'd love to be able to tell you everything's all going to be all right, but I think that's unusual. I don't know, Nicole. I mean, I know you're a woman of few words on the show, but is that an issue for you, or do you do you readily know that the stripes are red and white and the stars are white and blue?
I think I know that, but in terms of like why it's said that way, I have no.
Well, no. In terms of, would you, if somebody told you to describe the American flag, would you have any difficulty saying yes, the stripes are red and white and the stars are white on a field of blue? Would that be of any difficulty for you?
No.
All right.
Yeah, there might be, but I think I've always been that way.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, some people are much less visual than others.
could be Farquhar syndrome.
Excuse me?
I just made that up.
But I do worry about dementia. You think it's dementia?
No. No. I was just sort of busting your balls.
First of all, even if he does, what is he, a doctor? Like, who the hell cares if he thinks it's dementia? Like, what does he know the signs of dementia?
Believe me. Did you read Dan's book?
I'm not through it yet.
You're not through it yet? All right.
Excuse me, have you read my books,
So,
plural?
Well, so anyway, getting point is like, wait, there is clear that Dan spends a good amount of his time. Dan probably knows more symptoms than a medical school student. Okay, Dan has researched everything, including dementia.
He'd probably be a good doctor.
Well,
actually,
I mean,
Dan.
short-term memory problems are the first symptoms of dementia. So if you order something and forget you ordered it, then I might start. Then you might worry. But if that's not an issue for you, then I don't think you need to worry about the flag.
No, because you'll know every word of some book
Song
or
from the 70s.
Yeah, song. I don't think he's particularly visually inclined in that way.
I can be. I'm good at like I did that Amazon logo. I'm good at that.
Yeah, that's that's not that hard.
Well,
to
but
do.
I'm good at that stuff.
Fucking
I'm good at
font and an arrow.
I'm good at laying things out.
Well, how late did Coleman say he was going to be? When did Coleman say he could be here?
It's too late now.
Well, I'm asking Noam. This is a
Oh,
memory.
oh.
30 minutes.
30 minutes. There you go. Yeah, you don't have to mention.
Who's Coleman?
Um,
I wish I'd said that right.
That's funny.
But there is something else. I had a logo that I did one time. I think it was for the underground debates, where I played with the colors of the flag, and I think that got into my memory too. So I have this kind of like distorted colors of the flag thing also. That's mixing it up. Let me look that up. But go ahead.
what other talking points did I have? We had
Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson, who died, I guess, a week ago or so, at 68 from cancer, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody. He never played here. I don't think. Did he know him?
Not to my knowledge.
In the 90s, it's just staggering to me that the large chunks of time that go by like it's nothing at all. But in the 90s, I did his show, the Louis Anderson Showcase, which I think aired on NBC. So we went out to Los Angeles to perform. He was the host. It was called the Louis Anderson Showcase. I think Rich Voss was on an episode with me, and he hosted it, and it was just a series of stand-ups. So it was just, everybody did 5 minutes or whatever. It was one of my first TV appearances, and it was so exciting.
I would love to see that.
Well, I don't think there's any way you could I mean, maybe you could dig and find it somewhere, maybe on the internet or something. I don't know. But that was my interaction with Louis Anderson. I did it twice. It filmed at the Santa Monica Pier.
I'm gonna. I mean, listen, if I can find all of these guests,
Well,
that Noam
maybe,
sends
but
me every
this is
week.
the 90s. I mean,
But it was taped, so NBC must have it,
NBC might have it, but
right? So you just have
so I mean,
to go.
assuming they're willing to give it to you.
Well, give it to you, but
Well,
yeah.
I'm not asking for it, but
Well, I would be asking, as a representative of. I mean,
well, if you can find it, that'd be really interesting to see because it was at the very early part of my stand-up career.
I know that's why I said I want to find
Well,
it.
yeah, but I encourage you to do so.
By the way, why is Coleman late?
Well, he misunderstood. He didn't realize that he was supposed to come in person. He misunderstood.
Why
that.
couldn't he zoom in?
Well,
who's zooming who?
he could, except
He
that
didn't give us that option.
I mean, I didn't really think that it was an option. You came in, so why
is she like?
Well,
No, wait, no.
But she
no.
knows the stripe colors.
No. Slow down, okay? You came in so we could do it in person because it felt like an episode that we should all be here for because it's important. Don't just like, it's like I'm just like being like dismissive, like I don't care.
Do you want Coleman next week, or do you want him by Zoom?
You want to Zoom right now?
Well, it's up to you. I
I don't know what you're annoyed at. Like, excuse me for.
I wanted to zoom. She says, no, you have to come in. It's a very important episode.
I
I'm
did
like,
not say you have to come in. Don't make me read the text.
she said,
message.
please come in. It's a very important episode. I'm
That's
like,
not what
why
I
is it a
said.
very important episode? Because Coleman's a socially important video. I'm like, yeah, because Coleman, of course, is important, but we've had other guests that are important. I don't think zooming means I think it's less important. I said, all right, I'll come in. So I came in. And of course, Coleman's not here because he thought it was zooming. So she says because he can be here in a half an hour. But she never said, or he could just zoom in now.
But I don't think he should zoom in now. And for the record, I don't like it when you do this. I didn't say you have to come
Well,
in.
the question, I think a better question is, if you're really looking to get it, Periel, which you are typically, why was he under the impression that he was zooming? Was
because
there
he
any
misunderstood. No, I mean,
All
he
right.
misunderstood. He said it himself.
Misunderstood what? Let's see. Let's play.
Okay, ready?
Let's play. By the way, could you draw a Union Jack?
with great difficulty? No, I couldn't get the colors right. I mean, I know what it looks like, but I
What
don't.
does it look like?
It's like I think it's blue, and then you got a plus sign, and then across the plus sign you have two diagonal lines.
So how do you know that?
Because I live in the world, and the Union Jack is.
I couldn't do that.
But I think each stripe has like different colors to it. Let me see.
So go ahead. Tell us what you wrote to Coleman.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It's weird. It's got like stripes that are like 2/3 white and 1/3 red, and it's confusing.
It would be difficult to reproduce faithfully,
Yeah.
but I'd get the general idea.
Let me see, please.
No, you read about Coleman.
I'm
but
going to read the whole
She'll
thing.
bring up a Union Jack.
Okay. I'm going to.
You can redeem yourself with the Canadian flag.
I have no idea. It's a maple leaf.
Yeah, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah. So that's it. Go ahead.
There's a maple leaf, but it's a maple leaf on a field of white, but then there's a little
Are there 2 bars or something?
2 bars, on either side that are red, I believe. Can we get the Canadian flag up?
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Periel.
I mean, I don't really want to throw Coleman under the bus because I love him.
Go ahead. Oh, right. That's good. Good.
What?
No, the maple leaf. I forgot about the. Go ahead.
Hi and Mazel Tov. The video's so good. If you'd like, this is a couple weeks ago. If you'd like to come on Cellar Pod to promote, you're more than welcome. Or tomorrow, but Noam won't be there. Right?
Yeah. She said that like it's like a profound like.
It is.
Ladies and
like
gentlemen of the jury, did he or did not say no one won't be there? Go ahead.
Right. So it's clear that you're not coming in, right? Like at no point does anybody even mention Zoom throughout any of this conversation.
Well, we're living in 2022.
No.
If it makes you feel any better for a second, I thought it was 2021.
No. But listen, I book guests every week for this show. If it's Zoom, we're going to do
But
it.
he's zoomed in before.
That doesn't matter. If it's Zoom, I say it's via Zoom, and I will send you a link before the show.
But you're at a disadvantage here because he's one of the smartest people in the country.
Well, we can have.
And you're
I'm going to call him because he just said.
and you're not.
Well, depends who
The
you ask.
Japanese flag is probably the easiest one, right?
Hey, Periel, I missed this.
Oh yeah, the
yes,
sun rising.
Yeah,
Does it have
okay,
anything
because
else
I'm
on it? Or
right.
It's just a orange dot, I think. I don't know if it has anything else.
Go ahead, Carol.
Can we get the
And then
The
Japanese?
today-
Israeli flag is here, blue
Yeah,
and
it's
white.
just-
with
just-
Star
Hi,
David.
I'm just confirming tonight at 7:15. Good. Yes, ma'am. Perfect. If you want to send me a bio or anything else you'd like us to mention, please do. And then just now, hey, did you send a Zoom link? And I said, oh my
Okay.
God, you were coming in.
it-
And he said, oh shit, I misunderstood.
It didn't-
God
wait,
damn it.
It wasn't explicit. I mean, in 2000, I have to, and believe me, I'm trying to be impartial. I know.
Wait. Again, I book guests every single week for this show. I have never once had somebody say, oh shit, where's the Zoom link?
Okay.
and
This
not
is how we
show
lost our
up.
last producer, by the way.
The 2000,
It is.
2022, I have to agree with Noam, especially in a pandemic
Okay.
situation. You have to be more explicit.
Okay, well,
I think you have to. I mean, you cannot. There's nothing to be lost by saying, by the way, this is in studio, not Zoom.
okay,
There's nothing to be lost by saying that. And I think that would have been
okay,
better to have said that.
okay,
All right,
fair enough.
listen, so we're gonna have to cut this. And so we have this is supposed to air on Sirius tomorrow. So talk a little about Louis Anderson. So Lou can cut in some Louis Anderson.
Well, I
stuff.
just said that I did his show in Santa Monica in the late 90s.
But what was he famous for?
Well, first of all, he was in Coming to America, the first and the 30-year later sequel. He played the guy that worked at the McDowell's, the McDonald's knockoff. I didn't actually see the sequel, but he was in that one too, I believe, right?
Was he considered?
He was also in a sitcom, wasn't he? In a sitcom recently.
I don't know.
Hello.
Was he considered one of the better comics?
Well, I have to say that if in the pantheon, I mean, no, I mean, if you had said, well, who are the comics that the comics themselves, regard as the greatest, then he wouldn't have been on that list. Neither would Bob Saget have probably been on that list.
Well, Bob Saget was beloved.
Bob Saget was more of a TV personality. He was the guy from Full House. He was the guy from America's Funniest Home Videos.
What do you think the life insurance premiums are on an overweight comic?
Well, he died of cancer, so I don't know that it was related to his weight, but
Still, everything, including cancer, is related to weight.
well, it
Belly fat is related to cancer. But
He seemed really beloved.
but my goodness, a lot of portly comics.
well,
have died.
Saget was not.
No, I'm not talking about Saget. I'm talking about like Belushi, John Candy, Louis Anderson, Ralphie May. Anyone else?
The guy downstairs who
Chris Farley,
Chris Farley,
Sure.
William
I don't remember.
Stevenson.
Yeah, William Stevenson.
William Stevenson. He wasn't as known for like being fat, but he had a big belly.
Yeah,
but-
it's not healthy.
It's not healthy. You're not supposed to say that anymore, right? That's fat shaming.
Well, I don't think it's fat
Well,
shaming. You can be fat or heavy
I
and
think it's
be
fat shaming
healthy.
when you make jokes about it, not when you say very matter of factly, well, it's probably best if you can lose weight to do so.
Yeah.
Well, it's best to be healthy. If you're bigger, like you can still
Now,
be healthy.
I don't know at what point overweight becomes unhealthy. I mean, one can have a belly and not be unhealthy. In fact, most people in their 50s and 60s probably do have a belly.
Well, I don't know if that's true.
I don't really. I'm pretty good. I see.
Well, I don't need to see it.
No, that's not.
Yeah, look, it's not. It's not when you were in your 20s. I'm sure it was a lot. There was a lot less there. I would imagine.
Yeah, but this is pretty good for 60. Okay, 59.
He's fat shaming you.
59.
Yeah, it's as good as you're probably going to get at that age, without a lot of work and effort. Now, I'm trying to do some intermittent fat. Now, if you really want to get into this,
Yeah.
now we're talking. I mean, you want to talk about lean and mean.
Yeah.
This is now we're at another level here. But
That's
No,
pretty good, Dan.
I'm a few years younger than you, but not outrageously so.
But I had years of hard living. You didn't.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, you know what? You're right. I never explicitly said. No, you're right. I didn't. And
Well, I think in 2022, yeah, an explicit
I
clarification
do,
would have
yeah.
been preferable.
I do usually explicitly say, and I
You
didn't.
can't even kiss a girl in 2022 without getting like
No,
explicit.
no, you're right. I didn't. The thing is because it was Coleman, it didn't even occur to me that he might zoom in. Like, obviously, he's
Well,
gonna
because
come
he
in.
comes here so often.
Yeah, it didn't
He
even.
comes here for the fries and the free
He
cheeseburger.
plays in the band every Monday.
No, but he comes here.
He was also
too.
here the other night with.
He does. I mean, I fucked up, but he also it's not like a crazy thing to assume that he would have been here. And what does that mean? That's how you lost your last producer.
We lost our last producer because there was a mishap
Mm-hmm.
that involved not being clear with the guest,
Mm.
and the guest didn't show up,
Mm.
and he wouldn't. They wouldn't acknowledge the error,
Mm.
and then I got into it with them.
Wait, is it a them?
I'm just saying them, and
Well, we're talking about the producer, Steven?
yeah, no. So and and then Juanita got into it with them, and then he said, "Fuck this shit, I'm out of here." He quit.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't fire him. He quit. Them.
Well,
Wait, is Steven a them these days?
No, I just didn't want to. In case he listens,
Oh, okay.
in case she was listening, I didn't want. I didn't want to give her away. Yeah.
Well, but I don't think that's. I mean, is that secret information?
No, but they are sensitive.
Okay. I thought you meant they in the.
I know. I was
They-
purposely being
so funny. No, but
oblique. Is that the word? Opaque.
I always say you can come in person, or if you're not in New York, or prefer to Zoom. And I didn't say that to Coleman.
Oh, you don't have to convince us.
No, but
Okay. Well, whatever.
Are you enjoying this, Nicole?
Yeah, I'm having a blast.
So let's talk about
Well, there's- can I-
COVID. Oh, go ahead. Good.
Well, just a few possible topics, just to give you the range
Yes.
of possible topics before you
Yeah. Go ahead.
pick one. The Ukraine.
Okay.
Joe Rogan and apparently Neil Young said, I don't want Spotify playing my shit because Joe Rogan's spreading misinformation about COVID, or any other COVID news. If there's other COVID news, I don't know.
Well, Ukraine. So I had a funny thing on Ukraine today. First of all, I mean, I don't bore anybody with Ukraine, but I have this guy I talk politics with sometimes, and he always, when he disagrees with me, he's never like, no, I see it differently, blah, blah, blah. He's always like, you're an idiot, you're a this, you don't understand. Like, always like really like dismissive.
oh wow, I can't imagine what that's like.
So I'd written something about Ukraine. It doesn't even matter what it was. And he writes me back,
Oh, is that like weird dude? What's his name? He's like a skinny.
don't say another guy's name,
his
please.
name, but like you argue with him on Facebook a lot.
No, it's not him.
Okay.
So he writes back. He said, "No, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're not seeing the big picture." And I got annoyed. I'm like, I am seeing the big picture. I said, I am seeing the big. I'm not missing anything. I am seeing the big picture. So then what I did is, I had a hunch. I researched it, and I found an article, and I quoted the article, an article that basically said the same opinion as me, and I quoted verbatim in a WhatsApp message, just 2 paragraphs from this article. I cut and pasted, as if it was coming from me, luring him in.
Right.
And he answered me, and I couldn't have gotten, he answered me, I'm blown away by the rant you just wrote. It's intellectual drivel, not based on anything on the ground. These guys were our natural allies, blah, 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 because, instead they are our enemies. Why? Because of the dumb stuff you wrote. So you just wrote. And then I wrote back, I'm sorry, I forgot to paste the link. That was Henry Kissinger.
Well, maybe it's possible he disagrees with Henry Kissinger.
I know, but yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's intellectual drivel,
All right.
when it's and then not seeing the big picture, when it's written by the guy, one of the greatest big picture seers of international relations in the history of the world, right? This is Henry Kissinger. It just like it just.
Henry Kissinger was also the one who used to cross-dress. Is that right? Is that Henry?
No, that's
No, that's J.
J.
Edgar
Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover. That's
You should
right.
try to get him on the podcast.
Is he still alive?
No.
But Kissinger isn't. He's 98.
Kissinger is. He's 98.
98.
So anyway, so that's what happened. Crazy, and I got such pleasure out of that.
You
I mean, did he
are-
respond to that?
I can't write what he wrote.
Why? Read it.
No, I can't.
Why? We don't know who it is.
I can't. So anyway, but anyway, it's just like he couldn't have gotten by this intellectual drivel. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to paste the link."
Yeah, that's
it
good.
was Kissinger. But on Ukraine, I mean, I had one thought about it. I don't know if it's profound or not. Two thoughts. The two thoughts were that when Biden misspoke or whatever, and he said that, we would essentially say that we tolerate a minor incursion, but we'd only react if it was a major incursion. You know what I'm referring to?
No, but
They
that's
got
your
in big
word.
trouble because almost like he was inviting the Russians to invade. I had a feeling, well, you know what? Now that he kind of put his foot in his mouth, it's going to cause him to react, to take a tougher stance on Ukraine than he otherwise might have. So it might not be what everybody thinks. It may not be that it's going to encourage the Russians. They might be smart enough to realize, oh no, he just said that. Now he's in political trouble. So now he's under pressure to stand up to us more than he was prior. And that's, that was one thought I had. The second thought I had is that this thing about we're going to make the Russians pay penalties, I don't think they give a shit about penalties. I think when we suck that they're going to pay a steep penalty for this, I think that's our way of trying to convince ourselves that we're not wimping out.
Did Biden threaten military action, or he? Or,
No, he didn't threaten military action. But
So it's sanctions.
yeah, but Putin doesn't give a shit about sanctions. He only cares about keeping himself in power till he dies. Russians are used to hard times, and even the sanctions against Saddam Hussein, that whole oil for food thing. Remember? I mean, oil. Yeah, was it oil? It was the oil embargo against Iraq, but there was some oil for food thing with that too. But anyway, it was all porous, and they sold as much oil as they ever did. These sanctions barely work. So there's part of me that says we should stand up with military action. I know people say that's crazy, but do you think he would invade Ukraine if he knew that NATO was ready to fight? I mean, it's not going to be a nuclear war.
It is oil for food.
Well, for food, yeah. She looked.
I mean,
let the record show she looked
what-
it up to try to show me wrong.
what is?
No, not at all. That's what you would do.
By the way, there is a movie
Yes.
on Netflix that I just saw that just came out. It didn't drop because it's a political movie, so I'm not going to say that it dropped. But it came out. It's a historical movie called The Edge of War, Munich, or something like that. It's fictional, but it's about Neville Chamberlain going to Munich to sign that treaty allowing Hitler to invade the Sudetenland. And they try to this guy that's German, but he's against Hitler, tries to stop him and tell him that Hitler is a madman. Well, anyway, so it just came out. Is it analogous? I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, so the analogies are tough. So first of all, Ukraine has always had like a quasi-Siamese twin relationship with Russia. There's a lot of Russians in Ukraine, there's a lot of Russian culture, right? They also try to be independent. But I don't think Hitler's going to try to gobble up all of Europe, but he might try to start Putin, but he might try to retake the countries that were part of the Soviet Union. And we are very nervous about anything military. We got stuck in Afghanistan, stuck in Iraq. But this isn't Afghanistan or Iraq. We're not like trying to build a new democracy out of mud. It's a stable country, and we're going to repel an invasion. And what would be so terrible about NATO saying, okay, if Ukrainian army wants to fight, we'll fight also? Like, what would be, and maybe that would be enough for Putin to say, I'm not gonna follow.
Well,
through with
but
this.
didn't Putin say that he's not going to invade? I mean,
No, he
maybe,
hasn't said that yet. I mean, he says we have no plans, but he has 100,000 troops on the border. So anyway, I don't know. I mean,
I don't. Does Putin give a shit what anybody says? I mean, this guy is like, by all accounts, just like a complete gangster, isn't he? He's
yeah,
like,
yes. So what I mean, he's weighing the pros and cons in a very dispassionate, calculated way, and certainly one con would have to be there's going to be serious military resistance.
the other one would be Madeline.
that would be the other con. Yes.
Genghis,
Well,
Dominic Strauss.
I mean, what
Is that his name?
Dominic Strauss-Kahn. what is the like? How much of Ukraine wants to be invaded? I mean, what? There's some. Well, there's some. Well, there's some,
She wanted it.
there's some constituency. I assume you said there's a lot of ethnic Russians there.
Well, Crimea was like mostly Russian. I think I don't know that.
What is she
there's
wearing?
some
What is Ukraine wearing?
constituency that might want to be part of Russia, but
There is some parts of Ukraine that are going to be happy about the invasion. I'm sure.
Louis C.K. has a show scheduled in Kiev, in I believe in February. So,
Are you going to that?
No, I don't think so. I told him I'm available to go with him to Europe, and I haven't heard back from him.
Would you be scared to go now?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. But well, look, it might be an interesting. If nothing else, I mean, if there's danger, it'll probably be canceled anyway.
Yeah, but you never know with that kind of thing.
Haven't you spent a lot of time there?
I spent some time there, but listen, they told the Americans to start leaving there.
Oh, okay.
The State Department told Americans to start leaving Ukraine.
Oh well, then Louis probably will cancel the show anyway.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm always looking for publicity, and maybe being, comedians, maybe on TV at the airport, holding onto the wing of a plane, or like the helicopter leaving Saigon.
Yeah.
If that's me up climbing the helicopter thing.
Well, you would think the world would, like, I could see why John Lennon sat down and wrote Imagine in some, like, childish, naive moment, because why are we still having invasions in Western Europe? Like,
Well, we're not having them yet. We'll see.
But I'm just saying, it's crazy.
It's
like,
crazy.
You'd think we'd be past this, but we're not.
Well, I mean, the Holocaust wasn't even that fucking long ago.
Oh, they're the Jews and the Holocaust again. Everything. So, anyway, so that was Ukraine. What was the next topic? What's your? Well, you don't have any view on Ukraine.
Well, I don't have a view. I mean, obviously, the idea of sending soldiers to war is obviously something that's very serious.
Yeah.
And obviously, the last couple of wars that we didn't work out so great, and we lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, you have to say, is this something that I would be willing to fight for? Well, you can't go by me because I'm a coward, but is it something, I don't know,
I mean, fighting to prevent one European country from taking over another one is still in the preferred list of good reasons to fight wars, right? This was World War II. The one mistake that everybody agrees on was not standing up to Hitler when he tried to take, before he went into Poland.
Why does Russia even want to invade Ukraine? Like, they just want to take over the country?
Have you
Well,
had-
that's
have
where it
you-
gets interesting.
Have you had chicken Kiev?
Well, we were poking around in their backyard. I think we and I don't know. I'm gonna sound stupid. I shouldn't even say. Let's go on to something else.
Okay.
COVID.
What about Joe Rogan? Joe Rogan, there's a bunch of, I think we discussed this last week, a bunch of scientists, I guess, signed a petition to tell Spotify, hey, you got to sanction Joe Rogan because he's spreading COVID misinformation. And then Neil Young apparently doesn't want his music played on Spotify because he doesn't like what Joe Rogan is saying about COVID. So
Yeah, Spotify's hanging in there, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think Spotify is hanging in there. I mean, assuming Joe Rogan is disseminating misinformation, I don't really listen to him. Is Spotify right to just say, well, caveat emptor, he'll say what he says, and then it's up to the listening public to inform themselves. And the best way to, as Coleman, actually, we'll bring Coleman into the conversation, even though he's not here. He tweeted, you got to let people say what they have to say, and more speech is the.
When did he say that?
He just could you find it, Periel? Maybe he just tweeted something.
So-
about it. He said, don't cancel Joe Rogan. I think he said something to the effect of, the best cure for bad speech is more speech.
Yeah, it's really dangerous when you start going after.
I mean, on the other hand, a private company has the right to look. If I went on stage and bombed, okay, that's speech, but you would say, Dan is bombing. We can't have him perform here.
Thank you, Nicole.
Well, Nicole's great. Don't cancel Rogan. Fight bad speech with more speech. Spread clear thinking about vaccines, mandates, etc. Starting here. That was January 20th. That's yesterday. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So January 25th. So, okay. So a few things. First of all, we've had about a year now of Twitter and Facebook and the rest trying to throttle misinformation, disinformation, blah, blah, blah. I wonder if it is a decreased belief in this stuff, stayed the same, or increased and made people dig in more on this stuff. I suspect it's probably the last. I think that this movement by big tech and all this stuff has only emboldened people to believe this stuff more.
Well, because they think, there's a common meme on the internet with a quote attributed to Voltaire, but I don't think Voltaire really said it. If you want to know who controls you, then what are you not allowed to hear? Something like that. I should have researched.
That's what Voltaire said.
I'll look that up.
Somebody cleaned it up.
Voltaire was never very clear about it.
He was a stutterer,
No, I mean, when you
he?
try to silence people, the assumption is that they're telling the truth because they're trying to be silenced by the shadowy figures. And
Also,
so that goes to what you're saying.
Yeah, that's number one. But also, we've had a few different things that were not allowed to be said, like lab leak hypothesis or Hunter Biden's laptop or the fact that the vaccines might increase the risk of myocarditis. That turned out to be true. And this is where I think it really backfires because once they all close ranks and don't let you talk about just one thing, and then that one thing turns out to be true, then you're like, fuck it. I don't believe anything they tell me anymore. And all of a sudden,
I agree
you really
with
listen to Rogan. Now, the truth is, I think this guy Malone on Rogan is spreading misinformation. And I did some research into it, and I found flaws in what he was saying. And I don't know why Rogan puts these guys on. I mean, I think Rogan is an open-minded guy. But it would not bother me at all if Spotify spoke to him and said, listen, these are some obvious flaws in what's being said, and can we try to work to vet these people and their arguments? Because what happens is Rogan brings them on, and he reacts like he's never heard this stuff before. I'm not sure he has never heard that stuff before, but these are things that these people have said before. So it shouldn't be a surprise what they're going to say. And he has his unlimited funds, and somebody should research and get ready with the strongest counter arguments. Give the guy a chance to answer them, but he's very he really allows his guests. He doesn't really challenge his guests.
Well,
a little bit sometimes, but for the most
let's
part,
bring it to you.
Yeah,
because you're a business owner and you're in the business of hiring people that say shit. And like I said before, if I wasn't getting laughs, you wouldn't use me.
I use you.
Very good. All right. To what extent would you sanction or censure a comic that was going on stage and saying some of the things that Malone might have been saying? A comic that went on stage and said crazy conspiracy shit. Who
was packing them in?
Well, he wasn't packing them in.
But Rogan's packing them in.
He's a comic that just is a comic.
It's different.
And
It was like Megyn Kelly.
No, but
they kissed Megyn Kelly's ass until her ratings were bad. Then they couldn't tolerate her bad things she was saying.
To what extent do you, as a business owner, are responsible for the product that you're putting out? And
well, it seems to me Spotify must have signed some sort of deal with Rogan
it said you can say whatever.
that really made it clear that they couldn't just cut bait. They knew he was going to have controversial shows, and Rogan had to have negotiated a deal for himself that doesn't allow them just to do that.
Sure.
I would think.
I mean, I
And
think
the second question is Coleman right? Is the best cure for bad speech more speech, or sometimes speech is harmful and it's better to, and overall society would benefit from it not, from getting rid of it? I mean, is
Well, I mean, I think the best cure for bad speech is more speech. Now, if you can look back in time, and you could probably handpick a few people that it would have not been harmful to censor them, like Hitler.
yeah.
But no, in general, yeah, I think the best cure.
I think the
more
issue
speech.
is that it seems like Rogan is endorsing this stuff, and when you have
He is
okay,
endorsing.
so when you have a platform that big, I think that you can also make an argument that you do have
Well,
some kind of a
Look,
responsibility.
it's a private company. Spotify has a product that they're putting out called the Joe Rogan Experience. And as the boss, I don't know what kind of contract they sign, but just as Noam, as a boss at a comedy club,
but it's
has the right
different.
to, well, not so much. I mean, unless they sign a contract saying Rogan can say whatever he wants, but
No, but
the point is-
his objective. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, what does he care if somebody's getting on stage saying conspiracy theory if they're hysterical and
but
they're really
if
funny?
he feels that society is being harmed by what this comic is saying,
yeah.
and Noam is the boss,
Yes, they can. I think it's their contract. So the thing with Rogan is tough because, first of all, I don't think Rogan's doing it in bad faith, and a lot of misinformation can be.
well, look, was anybody doing things in bad faith?
Sometimes people do, but I think Alex Jones.
Hitler
doesn't.
really
I don't
felt
think
it.
Alex Jones really thought there was that shooting didn't happen in Newtown.
Hitler really felt that Germany needed Lebensraum.
Yes, he did. Hitler was a good faith. So you can cobble together true facts and create a picture which is totally misleading. And I think that's what happens a lot on Rogan's show. I don't think he's traveling in. I don't think they're trafficking in falsities so much. From time to time, one might slip through, but I don't think Rogan would do that knowingly. But for instance, this guy Malone, if you listen to his arguments, every single argument comes down to, well, they have a deal. It's always this money changing hands. Why doesn't Israel do this? Well, Pfizer has a deal with Israel. And why don't the hospitals do it? Well, the hospitals make more money for every COVID patient they have. And it's classic conspiracy theory stuff. And Rogan doesn't say to him, well, then why do the hospitals push the vaccines so much? Because the vaccines would prevent people from going to a hospital. He has this guy Malone has the same answer to everything. He also misstates some facts. I'm not going to bore everybody with them, but I did a deep dive on one thing he said, and it didn't come out.
I would just say that Rogan. I haven't really heard the show, but based on what you're saying, he's no Noam Dworman. I mean, you put people's feet to the coals.
Yeah,
to the extent that they often threaten to leave and sometimes do.
Nobody's ever left.
No, but they come very close. You're very, very adept.
Yeah, but you said sometimes do.
Well, I don't know if I think back to the years.
We've had a couple of guests almost.
They
come
almost
very
Noam
close
is
to-
very good at pushing people to the
brink.
To the brink. What's his name? Was it Duca? Lauren Duca was one of them.
But the thing is that people like to listen to Rogan.
Yes, they do. So look, the problem. Because for a couple of reasons. Number one, he's got critical mass. Number two, maybe he just has a certain charisma that
He
just
does.
we
He's
can't
good. He's
we
good.
can't duplicate. And number three, sometimes when you take extreme positions, that's where the money is. The money is not in reason. Well, on the one hand, Reb Tevye, it would not be a popular talk show because he was saying, well, on the other hand, but she loves him.
Well, you should listen to Rogan.
Because this show has Reb Tevye references, and that in and of itself,
Rogan is not Jewish.
it's going to tank your ratings.
Rogan does not strike me as operating in bad faith.
But nobody operates in bad.
No, I mean I think
Or
Rogan.
not nobody, but
I think Rogan has an integrity. Actually,
many conspiracy people really feel the way they feel.
You want to tell the listeners who Reb Tevye is?
The guy in Fiddler on the Roof, and his daughter was about to marry a Russian who wasn't Jewish, and he said, but she loves him, but on the other hand, but I don't know. No, actually, anyway, I don't want to get too into the plot of Fiddler on the Roof, but the point is I think the money to be made in podcasting is taking a position on either the left or the right and sticking to it and really going all in.
Okay, but anyway, getting to it. But the CDC has shot itself in the foot by giving all kinds of conflicting guidance and promulgating rules that don't make sense, and they've really made a hash of it. And I don't know, you know, it's like I was so pro vaccines, and now I feel like they should stop this vaccine mandate stuff. What difference does it make anymore? What difference does it make
So what
anymore?
you're
Well, it
saying,
makes a
so what
big
you're saying,
difference.
so what you're saying is that Rogan, maybe some of the stuff, as crazy as it sounds, will turn out to be true. Is that what you're getting at?
No,
we censor it at our peril.
I'm saying that. So for instance, just something like masks and kids wearing masks. So I don't want my kids to get COVID. But there is good data that would indicate maybe kids don't need to worry about getting COVID. But so my town, so like they're going to make the kids wear masks. So I said, well, okay, if the kids are going to wear masks, can we please make them wear surgical or N95 masks? Because we all know that cloth masks don't do anything.
Can we relate this to Rogan, or is this another?
Well, it's just an example. So, like, this is an example why people had it up to here with this shit, and they turn to somebody like Rogan. So the town says, no, we're not going to do that. I'm like, but we know that cloth masks don't do. So it's like it's so important to you to have a mask mandate, even though you know that 50% of the masks that are being mandated don't protect anybody from anything. And people are not stupid. They know. They see the articles that say. I mean, CNN had a headline, cloth masks are just decoration. So you get fucking furious. Say, look, you're going to put my kid through this, put them through something that's benefiting them, but it's just become like virtue signaling in politics.
Well,
no, we want kids to wear masks, and it's fine with us if the masks don't actually do anything. People wear crocheted masks.
We'll leave Mark Cohen out of this. Well, I don't know how many people are turning to Rogan because of what you're saying, and how many people are turning to Rogan because they're just complete wingnuts that think that the government is putting chips in people. But
Both, but people are furious about this sort of thing. So now, like,
but this question still remains: is if Rogan is putting out false information, that's truly false information, what's the best response?
I don't think he's putting out truly false information. I think he's putting out true facts without context. So he might say something like, people who take the vaccine have 3 times higher rate of myocarditis. But he might not say it's 1,500 out of 200 million people as opposed to 500. You know, like that the absolute numbers are tiny.
Also, that myocarditis is like fully treatable.
And then no one has died from it. Yeah. So it's the context, you know.
Myocarditis, President of Greece?
No, he wrote Zorba the Greek, I think. Things like that. So, and I'm no expert on that stuff, but
I disagree. People are stupid. There are plenty of people who are stupid and they believe nonsense that they read off of Facebook. Don't look at me like that.
So now the question is, why do we need a vaccine mandate now?
Because the hospitals are filled up with people who are unvaccinated. Why does the healthcare system have to fucking collapse?
The healthcare system is not collapsing.
Okay, well, tell that to every frontline worker.
No, it is. There is a strain. We talked about this COVID. There is a strain in the hospital system. I did a lot of research into it. And first of all, you could Google overcrowding of hospitals. There have been many flu seasons where hospitals had to set out tents outside to handle the wave of flus. And I don't want the healthcare system to be overrun. But do you remember why we had mandates? This is mission creep. We had mandates because the vaccine was supposed to prevent breakthrough infections. This is a way of protecting the vulnerable from COVID. Everybody has COVID now. If you're vulnerable, you're not protected by other people having a vaccine.
I still think that, listen, my understanding is that
I thought even at the beginning, keeping hospitals from being overwhelmed was one of the stated goals of.
Yeah.
That was for the lockdowns, to bend the curve. But
Flatten the curve.
Flatten the curve.
Flatten the curve.
What did I say? Bend the curve.
Bend the curve.
Flatten
Bend the curve is bend it to flatness.
Someday.
All right, enough. This is boring. I am
am
turning to the right on this stuff because listen, the people who are not vaccinated, they don't want to be vaccinated. I think it's crazy. They don't want to be vaccinated. And they're not going to get vaccinated. What are you going to strap them down to a table immiserate them, like what that means to make them extremely poor.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they can't work.
Is that going to help bend the curve too?
No, I'm saying like there's a part of liberty which says that you don't force people to do something as intimate and as traumatic as taking an injection of a medicine into their body.
Well, what about forcing?
Hold
people?
on.
Okay.
Unless you have a very, very compelling reason, saving. Yes, absolutely. If it's going to spread through a community, that's a very compelling reason. To prevent a hospital wave is not a compelling reason. To protect them from themselves is not usually a compelling reason. I heard a statistic yesterday that like some universities now are not even letting kids, vaccinated kids, go out and eat together. There's all kinds of rules at universities, even though if you're double vaxxed and in university age, you have less chance of dying of COVID than a car accident. This is how over the top everything has become. We're totally in a PTSD, COVID, what would be CDS, COVID derangement syndrome, right? It's like it's crazy now. There's a fringe group that's not going to get vaccinated, and they're not a threat to me, and that's it. That's like I'm done with them. Let them do what they want.
Well, you make a interesting point.
What do I care?
I
Nobody was more pro-vax than me. Nobody.
But nobody's talking about strapping people down. They're talking about restaurants and.
Also,
they're talking about not letting them work.
Okay.
But also educating them. Like I feel like there are a lot of people who really
can't educate them. It's all over the world. Every country has this population of people that doesn't want to get vaccinated.
Listen, other than the hospital system, I mean, and what if there is a vaccine that they're talking about coming out that does prevent Omicron or the next variant or the next variant? I mean, there are plenty of vaccines that are mandated.
Yes, but I mean, this is the argument I've made every time. If today was the first day of COVID and the threat we face today was the day we faced on day one, we would have done nothing to react to it. And I don't think that's disputable. We would not lock down. We would not be wearing masks. We'd not be forcing anybody to take any vaccines. Nothing. We'd say there's a new virus out there. It's filling up the emergency rooms. Almost nobody's dying. We do have a medicine for it. You can take it beforehand as a vaccine. You could take this pill after you get it. And it's just
I don't think that pill is widely available.
It will be within weeks, but it's just as effective as the vaccine. The vaccine is not like a vaccine that we were accustomed to, like you take the vaccine and that's it, no more chicken pox or no more mumps.
I'm glad I got like 14 of them.
But I'm saying it was that now the vaccine, and I hate to say it because this is Alex Berenson's argument, and I don't like Alex Berenson, but he said it's like a therapeutic. He's right. It's a medicine you take. It doesn't prevent you from getting the illness. It just makes the illness very mild, like Tamiflu. You could take it before, you could take it after. What's the difference?
Well, the vaccine you have to take before.
Right, but I'm saying I don't care what people do. Do you care if somebody's vaccinated or not?
No.
Now, if you were afraid of getting COVID, would you think that you were any safer in Manhattan in a restaurant that limited to people who are vaccinated, people who are not limited to vaccinated?
I mean, I don't know. What do the numbers say on?
Yeah, are you more contagious when you're not vaccinated? With
Maybe you are,
Omicron?
but is that enough to make you? In other words, if you don't want to get COVID,
Yeah, of
half the
course.
people in the Olive Tree and Comedy Cellar had COVID 2 weeks ago, so maybe it would have been 75%. That's not going to.
So
not enough.
are you socializing? Is your family now socializing with people indoors without masks, regardless of vaccine status? Is that the position that you're taking?
Yeah, what matters now, if we were serious about it, we would make every restaurant test you before you came in. That's what would make sense.
Well, I'll tell you one thing: the restaurants, when they look,
That's crazy too, because nobody's dying of this.
When they look at your vaccine card, typically, people don't look at it very carefully. I don't know what the Comedy Cellar is up to, but normally when I go to a restaurant,
we check it hard.
I just pull out my card, they glance at it.
What is the worst story?
And of course, they're very forgeable anyway. So,
what is the worst story you've heard about Omicron?
I didn't go to Aruba.
No, in terms of a health outcome.
Well, not going to Aruba is not a health outcome, but it's very serious. Missed out on my tan, but I'm just trying to push this, but nobody's laughing. Okay. I don't know. There have been deaths from Omicron. I know that.
In your
Not in my circle.
Andre Leon Talley died of COVID?
Omicron. He was vaccinated.
Not sure.
The chance of dying if you're vaccinated. Chance of dying if you're not
Well,
vaccinated. are very low.
Meatloaf. I don't know if he had Omicron, and I don't know if he was.
He was not vaccinated. He was a walking comorbidity. The guy was old and fat. People die of the flu. 30, 40,000 a year. Anyway,
You know that Meatloaf was had a baseball team in my hometown called Meatloaf. He lived in my hometown, and he sponsored a little league team. It was called Meatloaf. Anyhow,
I
think we
believe
can-
in the vaccines like crazy. I just don't think it matters anymore in terms of restaurants and stuff like that. I don't see why it matters.
well, my guess is that all this will
Don't you have to be
these
vaccinated?
mandates will it'll be canceled soon. But
Don't you still have to be vaccinated to come here?
Yes, you do. That's the law. And I'm saying it's ridiculous
I
at
see.
this point.
I see what you're saying.
What do we?
I don't know. I wasn't listening. I'm just
know.
kidding.
I mean, when this started, it made total sense. It meant nobody in the restaurant would have COVID. You could bring your grandmother there. You could bring your kids there. If you had immunodeficiency, you could go there. And also, by the way, it was a much more deadly strain.
Yes.
Now, if you are at risk of COVID, you don't go out during a wave. You just don't, because people are. I mean, Manhattan's all vaccinated. We were the hot point in the country, and we're basically all vaccinated. Israel now has the highest rate of Omicron on Earth.
That's insane.
It has one of the highest vaccination rates on Earth.
So how do you explain that?
Duh. That's what I'm telling you. The vaccine does not protect
No, I
against
get that,
infection.
but how come Israel has the highest rate in the world? That is so crazy.
Because the vaccine doesn't have the highest death rate.
But why would it have a higher rate of infection?
Well, they do a lot of testing
could
too.
be more
Right,
testing.
that's it.
Yeah.
Could we end with a
Yes,
Meatloaf
please.
song?
Is Coleman coming?
Yeah, he's on his way. He can't come. He has
You never
Omicron.
play Meatloaf on Monday nights. I don't know if that would be appropriate for your band. If you can do it with.
Which song would you like to hear? Paradise
Well,
by
I like
Dashboard
Paradise by the Dashboard Lights. You need a man and a woman to sing it.
No,
Maybe
Not
call.
anymore, you don't.
Well, what do you mean? So you could. Well, no, you're right. But to be faithful to the original, I would like to see Colin do a duet with one of the singers that you use, one of the female singers that we use.
I used to play that song in a band years ago. It's a fun song.
I mean, Colin. How about
very long.
Colin and well, who comes? Vivian.
Yeah.
How
Stop
come
right there. Bum, bum, bum. I'm gonna know right now.
Yeah, well, that's the one.
How come Rosalind never comes and sings?
I invite her sometimes. She doesn't come.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I guess Coleman's coming, but next week are we going to reschedule Coleman and bump whoever's there? Okay, so next week.
Say that on the air.
What,
What if? Well, I mean, then our next guest knows she's getting bumped.
Who
well,
you
she's
bumping?
going to know she's
We'll
going
have them both. We'll have two guests.
Well, now hold on a second. No, I don't think we should have both. I mean, Coleman we need time to devote to Coleman, and
Next week we have Joe Bo Aller. Bo Aller. You have no idea who
doesn't
that
ring a
is.
bell to me.
Okay. The week after that.
Okay, enough. Okay, let's sign off.
Okay,
You got to get Luda to cut this up a little bit.
podcast at comedyseller.com for questions, comments, and suggestions. Have we been getting any, Noam? Because I say that.
No, because we always say the email address at the
I know,
end.
but we used to get. It seems like we used to get a lot.
We get it from time to time. Usually people take nitpicking with me about some facts.
Well, once
We
again,
get comments on our YouTube too.
Podcast at comedyseller.com. As I said, my book. Forget it. No one's buying. My book. We'll see you next time
Bye.
on Live from the Table.